To organize life is to reveal how you think the universe works. Biological classification is a system built on the specific assumptions of its creator. Modern cladistics and Linnaean taxonomy group life based on shared evolutionary descent, mapping organisms by morphological and genetic similarities. Engineer and author Chard Berndt argues that this approach overlooks the classifier's perspective. In his text, Biblical Classification of Life, he states that these systems reflect the purpose of the person creating them. Berndt proposes a taxonomy built on the axioms of the biblical creation account, leaving the concept of shared ancestry behind. Understanding the system requires analyzing biological data through the lens of original divine design. This diagram outlines the biblical classification of life. It replaces modern markers like cellular membranes or skeletal structures with habitual domains, the environments where entities were originally placed: terrestrial, avian or celestial, and aquatic. The system organizes these domains into hierarchical tiers based on the sequence of the 6 creation days and the entity's intrinsic life essence, such as nephesh or soul life and ruach or breath life. Within these tiers, organisms are grouped into the biblical kind. The Hebrew word for this is mean, which describes specific genetic boundaries. The mean acts as a strict reproductive limit. Organisms multiply within these boundaries, which differs from the transitioning nature of an evolutionary species. These principles form the unified taxonomy of biblical creation domains. By relying on habitual domains and fixed genetic boundaries, this model categorizes all entities, observable animals, extinct creatures, and celestial beings, into one structure. The first pillar is the terrestrial domain, or eretz. This habitat contains all entities whose nature is tied to the land. At the top of this pillar sits mankind. Humanity occupies a unique taxonomic status defined by possessing the image of God, Elohim Salem. The biblical classification separates humans from primates. While animals were brought forth, humanity was formed directly from the soil. Moving down the hierarchy, we encounter non-creeping beasts. The clean subcategory includes the split-hoofed and ruminant, such as cattle, deer, and giraffes. Below them are the unclean beasts. These animals lack the combination of cloven hoofs and a ruminant stomach, like swine, or they lack hoofs entirely, such as lions and bears. Massive historical beasts, like the Brontosaurus, the Tyrannosaurus rex, and wilderness spirits like satyrs, are classified together under this unclean terrestrial node. The lowest terrestrial tier contains creeping beings. These are categorized by their proximity to the ground, encompassing rodents, velociraptors, spiders, and aerobic bacteria. The terrestrial domain reveals a hierarchy of authority that separates humanity from the biological history of the beasts. The second vertical pillar is the avian and celestial domain, or the rakia. This space contains entities defined by wings, flight, or residence in the sky expanse. The clean-winged beings include herbivorous or insectivorous birds, like robins, doves, and quail. These contrast with the unclean-winged beings, defined as carnivorous flyers, bats, and celestial entities. This bracket places eagles, extinct pterodactyls, bats, and celestial beings like seraphim and cherubim side by side. Because this system categorizes by original spatial placement and locomotion, angels and bats actually share a single taxonomic domain. Winged insects are separated into clean varieties that leap, like locusts, and unclean varieties that crawl, such as bees or the extinct Meganeura. Grouping biological animals with non-material angels indicates that this taxonomy prioritizes the spatial design of the creator. The final pillar is the aquatic domain, or myame, containing all entities whose nature is tied to the deep waters. The great aquatic beings possess lungs for ruach breath but lack scales. This group includes whales, penguins, and the extinct Mosasaurus. The Leviathan described in the Book of Job represents the ultimate, now extinct occupant of this category. Below them are the clean-gilled fish. This tier is defined by the presence of both fins and scales, containing fish like salmon and perch. At the base are the unclean lower aquatic beings, scaleless and finless organisms ranging from crabs to macroscopic aerobic bacteria. The aquatic domain completes the matrix, integrating single-celled organisms with extinct sea monsters based on their design traits. While this matrix shows the original design, Post-creation events changed the biological landscape. The fall of man introduced entropy into the system, triggering latent carnivorous behaviors across the entire matrix. Later, the Great Flood acted as a cataclysmic taxonomic bottleneck, reducing the global gene pool. This deluge reshaped the global food chain and led to the extinction of the Tanim, or dragons, along with the largest terrestrial beasts. The Levitical laws of clean and unclean represent the surviving secondary markers of this pre-flood biological order. Biodiversity today is the fractured, bottlenecked remnant of this original engineered system. Adopting this framework treats the Earth as a deliberately engineered stage. Every domain, habitat, and organism occupies a place designed in relation to mankind. As Tarred Burnt concludes, biology should be an act of worship, a journey into the creative mind of God. The unified biblical domain taxonomy offers a comprehensive alternative structure to modern evolutionary biology.